Well, hi, everybody. We've been discussing this week how to have an unhurried soul during this crazy season, and we've looked at the rhythms of God's grace, seen in how Jesus got away to pray, to spend time with friends, to enjoy the beauty of creation. I've asked you to make a list of the things that replenish you and things that deplete you, and do more of the first and less of the second. And then Pastor Dave gave us some permission to rest during this season as kind of a God-ordained moment for us and really our society and our church to find rest for our souls. When I preached this series back in 2019 called The Unhurried Soul, I talked about how cluttered our lives had gotten. I remember telling you that at the time I preached the message, I had 179 apps on my smartphone. 179. That's ridiculous. But we keep filling our lives up with more and more stuff. And I don't think we're built to process all of the information and all of the things that we go through. They're making computers with faster and faster processors to handle all that we're doing all of the time. And Dave actually reminded me earlier this week how when we were kids, I don't know if you remember this, those of you that are as old as I am, computers were just being invented. I'm like serious. And we talked about how technology was going to save us all this time, that we'd be able to do in 5 hours what we typically did in 8 and so forth, and then have the rest of the time to vacation. Isn't that funny that we thought that? But instead, what did we do? We just filled up the other 3 hours with more work. That's how stupid we are. But I wonder, why do we keep trying to add more and more to our lives? More knowledge, more time, more appointments, even more relationships, more media, more entertainment. Listen, I think our processors were not meant for it. And eventually they will crash. Our souls cannot keep up. Maybe the quarantine season isn't over because we haven't learned how to slow down yet, to really enjoy life again. To take time to smell the roses. Like, seriously, actually, when was the last time you smelled a rose, a flower? To slow down long enough to listen to your kids, to really listen to their hearts, to slow down long enough to take a walk outside without your phone, without disruption. And I can hear the pushback right now from across the internet. I know you're thinking, Steve, my life is so full. I just can't stop. I have real responsibilities. I have bills that need paid. I have a job, a boss. I'm trying to teach my kids at home while holding down a 9-to-5 job. I don't have time to slow down, and I get it. And so I'm not saying this is easy, but I am saying that if we don't change something, even corporately in our society, we're going to burn out if we haven't already. Jesus told us in Mark 8, verse 34, that if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake and the gospel's will save it. For what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and forfeit his soul? See, I don't think it's the busyness that worries me. It's the striving for more. It's the unnecessary clutter that I think all of us have. Because I believe this. We can be busy and have a healthy soul at the same time. We can even be always in a hurry and have a healthy soul. Jesus told us that his yoke is easy. He used that word easy on purpose, I think, because it's a soul word. He wasn't saying we would have an easy life or easy circumstances or easy assignments. He said that his yoke is easy and his burden is light. And I think what he was trying to tell us is that if we don't have space in our lives to experience God's grace, or time to recalibrate our perspective on what's important and what's not, or what's going on around us, or if we don't have the margins to see those who suffer around us, those that we love that need our attention, then simply we are too busy and too hurried. That white space in books, right? Think about your Bible and the white space in the margins. Imagine reading a book that had no margins. The words literally go right to the edge of the paper. That book would be exhausting to read. And in our lives, we weren't built to live without margins. Some people call it blue sky moments, where this soul work happens in the margins, in the spaces that we create in our life. I've told this story, but after my oldest son passed away, after he died in a car accident, my wife made me, she made me take time and space. We found ourselves at McMenamins all the time. We would sit there and just stare at each other in the beginning or at our drinks that we were having. And eventually I started talking and telling her how my soul was doing. At the end of the day, this is the reality that each of us are stewards of our own soul. Nobody else can take care of it except you. Today, I have 16 apps on my smartphone, and I use it without email or a web browser. Some people call it a stupid smartphone, and it's eliminated at least a portion of the hurry and chaos and clutter that my life was filled with. Here's what I want you to consider today. I want you to consider one of two options. One, set aside 15 minutes at the beginning or end of each day, the rest of this week, to reflect on the previous 24 hours. Just take some time to reflect back. In what 2 or 3 moments in the past 24 hours did you recognize your soul at work, or recognize that you didn't have space or margins, or those places that you did have space? Option 2, if that doesn't sound good to you, just every day set a timer or an alert on your watch, on your smartphone, your laptop. Just set a timer, an alert for 2 or 3 intervals throughout the day. And at each of those intervals, allow yourself 5 minutes just to turn your attention to your soul. Ask yourself, what does my soul need right now? How am I connected with myself, with God, and with others? Keep pressing into Jesus. You guys, keep letting your soul be refreshed. Love you.